Dan. Business Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative talks, CEO insights, success stories, value markets, and financial education. This is the CEO Show. Hosted by Dan. Business Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative talks, CEO Show. Hosted by Dan. Business Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative talks, CEO insights, success stories, value markets, and financial education. This is the CEO Show. Hosted by Dan. Business Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative talks, CEO insights, success stories, value markets, and financial education. This is the CEO Show. Hosted by Dan. Business Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative talks, CEO insights, success stories, value markets, and financial education. This is the CEO Show. Hosted by Dan. Business Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative talks, CEO insights, success stories, value markets, and financial education. This is the CEO Show. Hosted by Dan. Business Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative talks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 24th of June, 2025. Once again, we are here live hosting one of the best shows across the region. This is the CEO Show, and I'm your host, Dan. Remember, the CEO Show always comes to you every Tuesday, and the aim and the main objective of this particular show is to bring to you amazing personalities and notable personalities for that matter. And each and every week we are talking about different topics. This is the 47th episode. What does it mean? It means that for the last 47 weeks we've been hosting different personalities, trailblazers, and business and entrepreneurs, and talk about all the notable people in the society. And tonight we've prepared one of the best shows. This has never happened before, and we are ready to host and to have you for this particular show. Tonight we are talking about innovation, we are talking about vocational training, and also we are talking about restoring hope to a kid outside there. That is the main objective of tonight's show. Remember, we're coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and also we're coming to you live on TikTok. Please ensure that you comment on the comment section, share this particular podcast for somebody to know that you're watching, and also for us to know that you are part of this amazing conversation. Have you ever passed that street boy in the streets? Have you ever, in your town where you're located, when you walk across, who do you find? Who do you meet? What is it that crosses your mind? Sometimes you meet these young people who have lost hope in life, these young people who they have gone or they have gotten to the age of their life. They are feeling like giving up. They are feeling desperate, despaired. What is it that comes into your mind? As we talk about this particular show tonight, we are talking about an organization that have brought these young people and giving them that second opportunity as they figure out about life. But not only giving that second opportunity, but also impacting a skill to them so that they find something that they can do with their own hands. Who is our guest tonight? Our guest tonight leads one of the Kenya's most inspiring youth empowerment centers, from offering vocational training and safe shelter to teen mothers, to flipped classroom and clean energy innovation. TUMAINI Innovation Center is simply breaking every barrier in the book and also in impacting the skill. Mr. Samwel Kimani is the program director of TUMAINI Innovation Center, and we are here with them tonight. He's here to tell us what is it that they do, and not about what they do, but how they do it and the impact that they have to the society. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Asante sana.
Okay, we feel excited to have you tonight.
I'm actually happy and excited to be here too.
Okay.
For the opportunity to share the voice of the unheard.
Okay.
I'm always happy to be able to share the stories of those that find it difficult to share their own stories.
Okay.
Yes.
And first of all, sorry for keeping you waiting.
No, it's okay.
But we are happy that we are still running this through.
I'm happy to, and I'm quite impressed by the work you do.
Thank you.
And I'm trusting and believing that this is a great platform for young people.
Yes.
Who have identified other platforms to share stories. So I'm really impressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
First things first, who is Samwel Kimani?
Samwel Kimani is a teacher, I would say.
Yes.
I'm a teacher by heart, but in terms of titles, I'm called titled as the Program Director at TUMAINI Innovation Center. Mm-hmm. I'm also the principal of the vocational center that is the vocation training center that is housed within TUMAINI Innovation Center. So, yeah, those are my two titles.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Tell us.
I'm a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us now that you're a teacher. Yeah. In a nutshell, would you mind sharing about your professional journey to where you are?
Well, I started off as a high school teacher at Testimony Faith Homes and School. Mm-hmm. Then my cousin, who was then a student, but almost my age mate, was also studying there, so I became his teacher. He was formerly on the street and had been rescued by Michael from Jesus is Lord. You remember those days when there was a guy with a lorry with he was among those kids. Yeah. And he had moved because of eye problems. He had been taken on by some people who were running Ampath at that time. And he came and told me, they want me to start a program to support street-connected youth, but I think you can do a better job than me. Okay. So that's how I got into this story that I'm about to share. So, and then after that, we started TUMAINI, and from a day center all the way to a vocational training center. And now we are supporting young people with vocational skills and job placement. Okay. Yes.
Now, Mr. Kimani, looking back to, because you are one of the pioneers, if I can say so, looking back the vision that they had, that is the pioneers plus yourself, as you started this, what was the main objective? What was the vision that you had?
The vision was basically to provide hope to street-connected young people and children on the streets. And then with that hope, our plan was then to provide them skills and knowledge, opportunities, and resources for them to abandon street life completely. So that was a vision, and I trust that we've been able to do that over time. Okay. In a good way, hopefully. Okay. I'm not a very good judge of myself.
Okay. And now looking back to that, which year was that? If I can ask.
It was 2006.
2006.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay. If you now go back and look that year, 2006, looking back to that first day when you opened this, how clear was it about what you wanted to do, and what were the first things that you guys started with? Was it going to the street, getting these young boys, or how was it, the inception of it? How was it? You can tell us in a nutshell.
That time I was a teacher. This one was my student. And so we used to both have bicycles. So we would move from Testimony with a ball, take it to the streets behind Eagles Hardware, or across the river behind Eagles Hardware, and just start playing soccer with street-connected children and youth. First time the ball disappeared. The second time we bought another ball. The third time the first ball that left came back. And basically they say, tunawa trust sasa, tunaona nyinyi mko serious. And so that's how we started with a soccer ball. And, the amazing thing about a ball, you throw it down and people start kicking it fast. They don't even know their names. And then suddenly they start saying, hey, Maze, let's organize ourselves. And then they start playing a team against the other. And then that's where they start finding each other's names. So that's how we went there. With something that very easy to enter a space like that, because people fear street-connected young people. They are menacing, they are threatening, they are ruffled, tattered, and all that dirty and stuff. All the bad adjectives you can put on them.
Okay.
And so we needed something that would build their trust and rapport. So that's what we did.
Okay.
A soccer ball.
Okay. And immediately, that is when now you fished them to...
Yeah.
By then, had you created that system about uptaking and also bringing them and working with them?
So we were fumbling.
You are not even sure.
We were not sure what we are doing. I'm a teacher, I'm a student. So
yes.
So we asked, and then they started saying, walimu mkikuja, come with food, as he's playing soccer. And then we asked someone, would you mind buying us bread and milk? So we bought from Donyolesos milk and then buns from one of the supermarkets around here that we were getting at a good price. And then they said, Munakwanga an office? Do you have an office? And that's what we ended up starting a day center.
Okay.
A drop-in center just up the road, up the referral road, all the way to opposite St. Luke's. That's where we started. Yes.
And now looking into it, Mr. Kimani, at that time you were working at Testimony. You were earning some good pay, if I can say. You're okay with your profession.
That was my best school I ever wanted to be.
But what was it that was pushing you now to try this venture that you're not even sure about?
The shock. The shock that these kids can settle down with you and just beat stories, as we say it, kupiga story, share their stories, and the shock that they would look forward to seeing you, and the joy and the beaming smiles when you come back on Saturday. I was like, wow, I like these kids. And then the hope that you see, maybe with what I've been trained to do as a teacher, I can transform their lives. So I think that's what hooked me into that. That thing that you see these changes slowly, even not a lot of change, the fact that they're happy to see you, that shocked me, and I decided I want to do more about this. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And now, if we can talk about now the public, because we have different perceptions about the, let me call them street boys, for example. We have a lot of perception that we think these are people, they don't mean anything to life. But now that you've worked with them, what is it now that you see differently from what people see in them?
The streets never give back. It is people who do.
True.
So you cannot say this is a street kid. I mean, it says it's like the kid of Dandan. You cannot say this is a street child, meaning the street gave birth to them. It's me and you and others who are given. So they are basically normal kids with less opportunities. They're just underserved. But providing them a platform like you've done at TUMAINI, you can see the transformation.
Okay.
If you come at TUMAINI today, you will know the difference between a fee-paying student from the community and a street-connected young people who's being sponsored. Yes.
Okay. Now, directly to TUMAINI, how did it come to being?
So then with that, them asking us what we should do to support them, we started a drop-in center that they would come and go to this, back to the street, would identify those who are interested in school, take them back home, and that's how we started. So we had a day center that was operating just 2 days in a week, went to 3 days to Monday to Saturday, only closing on Sundays. And then that moved into something different when we met our first challenge.
What was it?
The first challenge was, there was a lot of bouncing back. And this is very common with working with vulnerable communities. You would come up with a solution, hoping that they will take it 100%. And because they are vulnerable most of the time, because you offered, they say yes. But in real sense, they might not fit into it. So we were taking kids back to homes they had run away from. So the underlying reason as to why children are on the street is poverty. Followed by, and then you can categorize that into push factors or pull factors. Push factors are violence at home, lack of food, maybe even lack of school fees that can send a child to the streets. And then pull factors are those that keep them there. like drugs. Very strong peer networks, which replaces family. You know, you become good buddies until after you don't see the reason of leaving the streets. The independence, then addiction, and you're hooked into this. Food on the street. You can get, sometimes, you know, you won't believe this. You can provide githeri at home, but they get chips kuku in town. It's cold, yes. It's not packaged the right way, but it's still chips kuku. So those things hook them there. And that was one of the reasons why we would place them back home and they would bounce back on the street.
To the street.
80% came back. I remember we had only 12 remaining and we had spent 12 million. I was like, it looks like we spent 1 million for each child that is here over 4 years. It was very disappointing. Yes.
At some point you felt like you need to give up on this.
I wanted to go back to teaching. I actually called my wife and like, Vaze Mimi, I'm looking for my papers. I go to the education department and apply for my TSC license.
Because the fruits were not coming.
The fruits were not coming. There was donor fatigue. I mean, and running a day center is hard because you meet them at their lowest. You know, they are just from the street. They have come there. They are all here up and down. They are high. It's hard to control them. So it used to be very, very hard. And then when you go through all that, then you place them, and then they come back. Sometimes they come back with the uniform that you bought them. They are like, I must say story I work.
They are like, this is not our thing.
Yeah. So then we had to really think through what to do. So we asked for the first time. So the first time we did our own solution. The second time we asked, Wazee mnatakaje sasa? Because it's not working. What is it that you want? And someone told me, why did you give these kids disposable cameras? Plastic disposable cameras that if you take about 21 shots, it's no longer, it doesn't have any value. And then take those shots and then process them to see the pictures and ask them to take pictures of what they really want. That's when I realized I was just doing the wrong thing. I was shocked. They took pictures of mechanics, welders, a couple at home, a place where someone is rearing chicken. And I was like, hey, these guys are not into... They never took a picture of a book or a school. They just took pictures of what they admired right on the street, like a mechanic. Carrying a vehicle.
So at Inception, what we are getting is now previously you are taking them through the formal kind of education. That is about books.
I'm a teacher, so I wanted them to go to primary, secondary, university, become professors.
And become doctors. Yes. But that was not working for them.
It wasn't working. You see, for example, it's taking Dan from the street, taking Dan to a school. Dan has been away from school for 4 years. So Dan is the tallest guy, and sometimes the dumbest is not getting anything. And sometimes teachers and even students, because a community, you take them back home, they know you're on the street. So the stigma begins.
There is a stigma.
So quickly they say, wewe kwanza venye unatusumbua hapa unatusumbua tu kama chokora, you know the name. And so quickly you're like, I'm not wanted. Let me go back to the street.
Okay. Now, to you, that brought birth now to the vocational, the training, the skill impartation. Now, how was the reception now when you chose to go to that path?
I was shocked. First of all, I was disappointed and shocked at the same time because we said, okay, then let's try to get a vocational space for you. Let me take you to town to start learning a skill. I was almost like 100% interest. I'm like, but even you, Dan, you're one of the brightest. Unaenda vocational kwa nini? And teacher, I told you through the picture that I want to be a mechanic. I want the process of being a mechanic to be short because I want money. I've already gone through adulting on the street. I have grown up. Mimi nataka pesa, nimeona watu waki-exchange pesa. And eventually hata nikienda hiyo shuleni unasema mwalimu, I'll end up wanting money. So I'm already receiving it on the street. I want it to get it as soon
as possible.
So a skill is much better for me compared to the long-term education system.
Now, what they were telling you, initially, it's like, hakuna ile story, when you grow up, you want to be like this. I'm already grown up.
I'm grown up. I've seen everything. Yeah, I've touched money. I've exchanged money with something else. I want now that money as short as possible.
Yeah. Now, Tumaini is very synonymous now with innovation. How can you bring out now as Tumaini, now that you cannot separate Tumaini with innovation?
So first of all, we call it Tumaini when we started as CBO because we were providing hope. And then we thought about what do we call it now? It's Tumaini Center. Do we call it TUMAINI Youth Center? Do we call it TUMAINI Rehabilitation Centers? And all those statements had connotations around them. If you call it rehabilitation, it simply means there's a tendency, the word rehab has stigma around it. Huko ndiko watu wenye wanahitaji wachenjiwe au si mzuri. And we went through that when we settled around Kapsoya, behind Kapsoya police station. And so we had to now come up with the word TUMAINI Innovation to give it an aura, a better perspective towards the street connected. And so the name came because we felt like we were innovating a new way of supporting this population. Little did we know that we will end up innovating engineering products and services later.
Okay.
Yes.
Now take us through now your model. Take us through now your model of what you do there.
So basically, we reach out mostly on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the streets of Eldoret. We meet a young person or a young lady, and we say, "Hey, you know about TUMAINI?" They're like, "Yes, I know about TUMAINI." So at least now, because we've been there for a while, they know about us. And then we say, "Would you be interested in what we do?" So what do you do? We then explain. We will provide you a job. So we previously would give you a skill. Nowadays we sell jobs. So we go and say, we will provide you a job and a livelihood if you come to TUMAINI. And so their interest is spiked. Now they're interested to listen to you.
Okay.
And then we discuss this over time. It can take a long time, by the way, for your information. It can even take a whole year of talking to them. Eventually, if they're interested, they have to go home. Government requirement. Previously, they would come to TUMAINI directly, but government now has what they call community-based support. Take someone back to their roots and support them from there. So if there's a system to support them from home, we support them from there. But most of the time, because we offer a packaged program that meets their unique needs and challenges, so they come to TUMAINI later. So what about the same thing I shared earlier, which home? So if home does not work, their parents cannot accept them in. We work with kins. If kins cannot accept, we go to community leaders, pastors, mwalimu, and the rest. And then if that cannot work, rent. And then they come to TUMAINI, vocational training, 1 year, go to industrial attachment. Within that 1 year, we're already looking for a job for them, and then place them in a job. So that's the whole cycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, what is for you now? I'm so interested to get to know as you go to fish them from the streets. What is how is their perception? Do they buy the story, and how is their intake about the same?
Our success story started with the interest in vocational skills, and then the interest in a job and money. So by mentioning all those three things, they're interested. 50%. Now is what the hook to get them off the street, because they're already making a living there. You're literally trying to replace what they are doing, and it's not easy, especially if they've become street smart and they're making good money. So at that point, then you start selling success. You remember the guy who used to be with you here on the streets? He now runs a salon. You remember Eugene, for example, who was here on the street, or you were not there when he was here. He now is a solar technician and doing a big job in a solar company somewhere. Would you want to be like Eugene? And he's like, yes, if there have been street connected people like me who are now successful people, I want to join. Or then the best thing, you send Eugene on the street to go and talk to them. And he's like, I used to be in this place, and now this is who I am.
So you can have a testimonial,
Exactly.
Somebody who has been there sharing the story. And now, when you meet these kids, now, how do you pick one for fashion and design? How do you pick one for hairdressing? How do you pick one for mechanical? How do you identify this student?
By listening. I've realized when you're working for vulnerable people, do not offer solutions. Because you come from a point of a savior, like you're the one with everything. But please listen. When you listen to them, they will tell you. They will say, actually, my guka used to be a tailor. My guka used to be a welder. And then you ask why and these things. So they will give you reasons. The other thing is you also take them through a process of getting to know their entry behavior skills, as teachers call it. Like, ulimaliza class gani, ulifika wapi, are you able to write? And because all exams are done in English, also something like that. So when you they're still on the street, imagine, you bring all that to the street, so that you do not tell them, for me to help you, you have to get here. No, you work with them when they're still there, It sometimes looks a bit defeating, but it has more success. They usually say, if you're supporting someone who's needy, do not even start it if you don't have the complete solution. Yeah, don't start. Because you will bring them to a point of hope, fail to provide that complete hope, and then their levels of hopelessness will increase. When they go back to the street after, if they don't make it to mine, it's even worse. They will not, nobody, if Dan comes with another solution, like, maze, kulikuwa na ninja hapa anaitwa Kimani alituenjoy, mimi siamini stories zako. Yes, so they will mostly refuse other opportunities. Yes.
And sometimes we've seen scenarios whereby probably the county or the national government or the municipality, sometimes they say that they pick them and take them somewhere. And how important is this? And now, is it a solution that we can have for these amazing kids in the streets?
It's a tricky solution. It is a reactive, quick solution, but it's not long-term. For example, now that they are no longer on the street because of the difficulty of engaging with government, they have moved to slums. So all the trouble that they were causing on the streets of Eldoret, they have moved it to Langas, Kamkunji, and Uruma. And the same challenge. So then, and you've realized these places tend to become small towns out of the Eldoret city. So you've literally, again, you go there and you find the same kids. Government, I would be, to be super honest, especially as in Gishu County government, has tried on some areas. So they have set up a rescue center, and they have a space in which they support them. It may not be very effective, but at the same time it works. And then we also go to them for referrals. We say, if you've had kids that you've taken from the streets and they are 16 years and above, the industrial age, they can come to TUMAINI. But I don't think it's successful in the long run. Slowly, it goes with government changes. So if this government is tough, they are away from the street. If another governor comes and is quiet, they come back again.
Okay.
Yes.
And now comparing the two models now, what is being offered by our TVETs, for example, these polytechnics that we have around, and what you guys offer, is there a line between the two?
TVETs are an investment of government. Most of them tend to be public. It's very rare to get a private TVET like us. And so they're heavily invested, and with that heavy investment by the government, and government has done amazing in TVET. Kudos to the government. If it does that, the challenge is then it takes to the higher levels of TVET, like diploma, craft, and artisan. Trade courses are courses you can undertake even when you don't even have a Class 8 certificate. Even if you don't know how to read and write in English, you only take out of interest, and you are 16. Actually, the qualification is 16 and above, and interest. So that fits very well for young people who have fallen through the gaps, like street connected youth. And so they come there, and the exams are mostly, the assessment is mostly hands-on. Make this table, and then I will give you marks. And 10% is what I will ask you. What tools will you use to make the table? So most of them pass with very good marks.
Okay.
So then if the other TVETs will provide that, although it's hard because they were really heavily invested, so it goes into VTCs, vocational training centers, or former youth polytechnics that are offering NITA courses, which the entry level is just your ability to be interested.
Okay. And now, Kimani, looking on the model that the government is doing a lot in terms of investing in TVETs and vocational training, for that fact. And we are seeing a scenario whereby a lot of young people are now moving into TVETs. And being in that industry where you train on skill, being hands-on and what they can do with their own hands, how important is it compared to the traditional way of you must go to class and get employed and wear a tie like mine?
It's a skill that remains with you forever. You fire me with welding skills, I move with my welding skills. I don't move away looking for another job to say, I used to be in a supermarket, give me another job in a supermarket. I basically go and say to the next person, I can make your window, and these are my color, my portfolio, and these are the pictures I've done, or the windows I've done before. Well, that's the importance of technical skills. They move literally with you. You are your own literal employer.
Okay.
Two is that they are short, so they are not long term. So it's easy to start. If you go to university for 4 years, another person takes the route of technical skills. Within 2 years, they are done, and they already are earning money. 3, the rate of unemployment has really risen. And so waiting to be employed in a job is becoming more and more difficult. And so it's important to employ yourself. So TVET skills give you that opportunity to employ yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, looking on the other side, after you've gotten this skill, is the society or the market ready to embrace you? And as an organization, what are some of the skills or some of the ways that you try to place these guys to the right place in terms of opportunities, in terms of jobs, in terms of even starting their own jobs?
So what we've done, and this is maybe we've innovated around it, is we sell work rather than sell skills. I'm done, and I say I'm going to help you to get a job as a hairdresser. Would you be interested? Then that is the first hook. When they come to the center, they come with guardians. And so again, alikuwa street ametoa wapi guardian. I remember I said there are several ways where we place them, including rental, but even when we place them under rentals, we look for what we call a monitor, someone, a sponsor, to check on them. That is a guy who comes with them to TUMAINI, and then we start saying, sign this document saying, from now on, the 3 of us, TUMAINI, the student, and the guardian, or the parent, or the sponsor, are going to start a journey of looking for a job. And then we go for industrial attachment, and then we start asking the industrial provider to, mazee, msana ni mzuri, mupatie job hapa, najua ako attachment. Sema bedhe akiimprove hapa na hapa, mimi ndampea job. Anakuja TUMAINI. We do dual training where the industry has said this is where there are gaps. Then we work on those gaps. When they go back, they're able to do what is needed. You know, with skills, that's an important thing. Nobody asks you later a certificate ya hairdressing. Unda nywele, ukiunda very good lines, that's your certificate.
It's very practical.
Very practical. And so we've had challenges where, for example, they're already employed when they're supposed to come and do government exams. And we have to beg them and the employer just give us 6 hours. 6 hours only. Afanye mtihani apate certificate. Because already they're employed.
And for them, they don't see the need of going back to do
certificate.
And they're already earning.
And then you see, it's very funny. There's a lot of poaching around the industry. So they're even being offered another job elsewhere. And so at that point, when they're doing very well, we start telling them, we've taught you entrepreneurship too. Start looking for a way to start your own salon rather than being employed.
Okay.
And we've had success stories of those who run their own salons.
Okay.
From TUMAINI.
And as you put much of these in terms of the structures, the works that you do, investing in them, getting them to have these skills, what are some of the setbacks that you encounter in running all this?
Of course, we got the setback of, again, bouncing back, especially for street-connected youth. And then we started working on the job approach, which has worked. We started what we call a work readiness and placement program at TUMAINI that works with them throughout the year until they get a job. Even when they have graduated, we still look for the jobs for them. Call them. We have an alumni list of those who have not gotten jobs. And sometimes we even connect them to their own prior graduates who can be their employer. So we've had, there is actually 3 of our former from the streets here, you won't believe, that are now employing others from the street in this town. And they are doing very well. The other thing is basically to provide support. So where they are stuck, and if there's someone who can give them money, you give. But the biggest challenge again comes with funding. Funding is dwindling. There's donor fatigue. You've seen what has happened with USAID. It's been closed down. We actually had received the funding from that, and it's been a challenge to continue with the program, although we're still in talks with them to continue with the process of funding the project.
Okay.
Yes.
And we've talked about success stories, and if you can share a number of them that you can pinpoint and say, these are the success stories that we can use as testimonials for what you guys have been doing.
From the beginning, with a lady called Regina, who came from the street and is now employed as a peer navigator and has moved on to be employed in a big children's home at the moment, from just being a street mother. To Edung, who came from Turkana, and we got him one Katera, you know the Katera, the push carts, and he owns a fleet of motorbikes in Lodwar. To Ayo, who runs a salon. to Moriah, who was on the street, met him at KTS outside there, came, did hairdressing, runs a dreadlock salon. To Eugene, who currently is installing a whole solar farm in the military barracks currently, and is employing others. He's actually offering attachment for the current students. These and many others who are doing very well. Those are the ones who are running their own show. They are those who are employed and doing very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And looking into this, you also offer healthcare services and also support, and also when talk about family reintegration, ensuring that these guys go back to their families.
Yeah.
And from where you sit as a teacher, as a trainer, and also somebody, a socialist who have interacted with these kids, do you think there is a break in family ties? Do you think there is a break in what family should play and the roles that they should play in the society?
Yeah. There is a family fabric, the societal fabric that holds this society's family. And there's a lot of breakdown in that fabric. It's torn. I mean, there's lots of kids who have ended up on the street because their parents have separated. There are those who ended up on the street because there's too much gender-based violence at home. There's a lot of, death through diseases. I'm happy right now, at least HIV is being controlled, it's getting much better. Sometimes HIV was one of the reason contributors to children on the streets. There's all these challenges where parents don't have jobs, and so they quit on their kids and they just leave them and just go, mostly with grandparents. And so those father and mother and children was what was holding that together. And so when those break, a lot of children fall through the cracks. Yes.
And now, as a giving a solution to this, and also if given a chance, what do you think as a society you need to do that it seems that we are not doing right? Because I'm sure every day that we have kids who are now making their way into the streets. It's something that we keep. This is a family that keeps on growing. How can we?
Yeah, just have hope, and children grow. That's what most parents have left their children on the street. They have come to Tumaini, and we've proven to they are the same parents. This guy can grow into something. So resilience, just continue despite the challenge. As they say, if you can't walk, just crawl. Just make sure you're moving ahead. Stay with your children. And for young fathers, the moment you hear you're a father, currently most young people are like so scared. But trust me, I've seen young people and children transforming amazingly within a year. What you need to do is to provide a platform. It doesn't need to be a rich platform. They will still grow. So I would say for families and for individual persons, children grow. Do not let them go on the street. You would panic today because you don't have food, but if you keep them within that door, within that small room, they will grow and they will be amazing people later. Two, it's on society. We used to be very communal, now we are very individualistic. So let's be our brother's keeper. Check on someone's child, ask. Instead of saying, kila mtu na maisha yake. Find out why, for example, Kiplimo is no longer in school. And provide. And people fear starting providing because they fear they will be asked the next day. When you're asked the next time, point to another person. Create a chain of support. And Kiplimo will be back in school and going on. And you'll be shocked how fast that went. And the fear that you had that he will be a burden to you will just be gone when you see the success. Okay. So that. And then for government, let's do more. These frustrations you are seeing among young people is just because the center is broken. If that center is put together, things will start moving. So provide what is needed. Yes, that would happen. And then policies to support street-connected young people, policies to support orphans and vulnerable children, which the government is doing amazing right now. If they are enhanced to be more practical, I mean, most just children will not be on the street. Yes.
And now, because another thing that I would wish to, because now we are in Eldoret, for example,
Yeah.
Eldoret City is here.
Yeah.
Every day we meet these young kids on the streets.
Yeah.
We interact with them at the parking lots.
Yeah.
And sometimes, what do you think? How should we react to them? Because they are
Yeah.
there begging. They are there in need of that small support. It's not about the future more. It's about what they can get at that moment. How do we react to these young great?
It's a very tricky question. I find myself in a very hard spot answering that. Because the streets can be addictive if food is provided, if a livelihood is provided on the street. So in the process of being a good Samaritan, you can end up hooking a child to that. Instead of them looking forward to go to Langas Primary, they will look forward to being outside your shop or outside your car next when you park so that they can ask you for money.
True.
They know Dan mazee ni msempoa, mazee lazima akitokelezea tu hivi lazima atanitolea breakfast.
Nimepata kitu.
So I would prefer you, Dan, and your friends go to Langas Primary and provide food so that kids who are not coming to school because hakuna chakula nyumbani can come to school because wanapata hiyo chakula kwa shule. So provide those support in the right places. But then you cannot allow a kid to die out of hunger. So use judgment to support. Ukiona mtu wenye ameumia, support tu. Lakini tena ukifanya hiyo support ikuwe mazoea, unamhuka hapo. So try to make sure that support is sustainable. Like, sasa juu nakupeanga hii pesa, what is your future? Na kesho sitakupea until uniambie unataka nini about your future. Najua kuna tumaini, najua kuna rescue, najua kuna hapa na hapa, mbona usiende huko?
Okay.
And how can I take you back home? I want to know about your family so that I can support you from home. Now unaona unaanza ku change their mindset. It goes back to home. True. But if you provide too much, you're keeping them on the street. Yes.
They'll be comfortable.
They'll be comfortable.
Okay. And in the scenario that I become more sympathetic and also more concerned for that matter and choose to, like, let me take this guy back to a home. Let me try to make a family out of him. Is there a process that are required to to take this street kid to be a family?
Yeah. There are laws. If you take a
How
child
should that happen
from the street to your home, that's kidnapping. Yes.
It's not rescue.
Consulted the parents. But the parents are not there. So therefore you usually say, take them to a support system. And there are many organizations supporting children across. But then again, do that with patience. There is a possibility unaweza mpeleka leo testimony or anywhere else and they run back to the streets. So just know that the solution will not be immediate, so a bit of patience in it. If you have to take them to your home, you have to make sure you've consulted their kin. So uliza kwao ni wapi, go meet their parents, find out the situation, and if you can, work with people like us who can help you to go through that process so that you don't end up breaking any law or end up kidnapping a child in the process of helping. Also, sometimes you can burn your fingers, you can try to help and then you're disappointed and you don't help anymore. Well, if you took the right process with the right professionals, you're able to do a better job and you're now satisfied and you can now attract more people to supporting street connected young people. So engage them in a conversation as you're helping them. And that conversation should be, unaweza enda nyumbani na kama unaweza enda, can I connect you to whom? I would like to talk to your mom and find out. Okay. They refuse, but wakikuzoea watakuambia ukweli. Yes.
Okay. Now talking about the administrative point and where you sit running such an organization.
Yes.
You've been you've been having this support from different aids. And the other day we saw what you just mentioned, backtrack from support from donors. Now, how can you make such an organization more sustainable without even the support of these donors looking into the future in terms of sustainability?
You're right. Previously there was aid funding. It was there. It moved across orphans, supporting girls, went to HIV, and all these things. But over time, donor fatigue has happened, and also donors realize it's called dead aid, that sometimes when you provide aid, with no sustainability, it's dead. People are always offering hands to be supported again. Yeah. And so there has been a shift in how donors support from giving to aid to giving to what they call social impact businesses. So it runs in a sustainable business-like model, but the funding comes now as an investment, an angel investment. No returns, no shares, nothing. Dana started a program to support girls from the street. They are making, let's say, disposable, they are making reusable bags, you know, and together for every unit piece they make, they are paid for it. For every bicycle they repair, they are paid for it, if it's boys or girls. And, you know, now it's gender neutral, you know, boys can do what girls can do and girls can do what boys are doing. And so if you run, for example, a small cabro making company with street girls, so they are making money.
True.
Yeah, they are making cabros, people come and pay, and they are paid per piece work or per day. So you are supporting them to abandon street life that way, rather than saying they are poor on the street or they need all these things, and then it's not sustainable. So for Tumaini, we're now transforming some of our courses into businesses, and that is actually a requirement for TVET. They are called production units. So, for example, instead of just teaching them motor vehicle mechanics, we are making electric vehicles that we are renting to young people out there to make money, and then they give us, you know, daily payment for using the vehicles.
Okay.
So, yes.
And we've been seeing your projects, what you guys are doing, the electric vehicles that you're talking about, and over time we've seen the innovation doing. How successful is it in terms of generating income to the organization?
Slowly getting there, and I wish we knew this model earlier on. Previously, you'd say something and then say, anatumia watu kuunda do.
Yeah, it's
that
true.
That was the thinking, people, but mindset is really changing. Instead of giving people all the time, teach them how to fish rather than giving them fish.
True.
So that thing is now warming up. So ideally, our businesses are growing organically. We've learned to listen to the customer more than providing solutions to them without consulting them. And so, like for the electric vehicle, we are talking to farmers, Kipkorgot, Ilula, Monyaka, and asking them, Monyaka are the operators in the Monyaka Kimumu market, and asking them, would you be interested in this vehicle? And how can we co-create this vehicle to be more efficient in your farm or for transport purposes? And there is more interest. So co-creating the business together with the customers. That has a better soul. And then you start small rather than investing too much. We've done, from funding, we've gotten big investments and the business died. Customer is key. Before you start it, talk to the customer first.
Okay.
Do good market research. And we are earning. It's making, and the good thing, government is supportive. KRA came and said, give us your books. They look at how much you're earning and how much it's plowed back into the system. So it's not a business per se. It's not a profit-making business. Yes.
Okay.
It's a social business.
Okay.
Yes.
And as much as it's a social business,
Yeah.
now the connection now between the center and the society. Has the society accepted you guys, and are they supportive? Are they using the center to their benefit also themselves?
So at the beginning, for example, when we moved to hapo area Tumaini Cyrus, kulikuwa na tension, like, umetuletea wezi, you know. That was the first thing. And sometimes, you know, from a point of not being informed or ignorance, people can be concerned. If they suddenly, these kids from the street in my neighborhood, you'll be wondering what will happen to my chicken.
Nyumba Kumi will raise...
They raised alarm. And then suddenly we started doing vocational training and coming up with solutions to their problems.
Yes.
They had challenges of people stealing from their farms, kuku na vitu kama hizo. Then you came up with a product that we are selling very well called the solar powered alert system or an alarm system. And so the problem causes, or what the problem that we came from the street began to become the solution to community challenges. So what was a menace is now become a problem solver. And that has attracted people to us. And then the story around that you can transform someone to create solutions for me as a farmer by creating an electric three-powered vehicle. I mean, three-wheel electric powered vehicle. The farmer is interested now. And the farmer now says, Sasa, una space ya my own son.
Okay.
So fee paying, actually our school fees is one of those increasing revenue for the institution. From fee paying self-sponsored students. And then the money that we get from that as a profit is plowed back to supporting teen mothers, because now we also support teen mothers.
True.
Not from the street, from the community. So if you know a teen mother from anywhere who's having a challenge, has had a baby in their teens and is interested in vocational training, you can refer them to TUMAINI. Those ones we provide free, but they have to be really, really poor and vulnerable. So those ones are sponsored, but then the community is paying. And even the numbers are scaring us. You're like, if we are not careful, our vision will be destroyed because we are getting a lot of, parents who are paying school fees. Yes.
Okay.
And buying our products and services, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because as an organization, we talk about now giving the second chance and also giving hope to these children who are despaired. But now I believe it's also about the mind.
Yeah.
And as you train them now, how do you, in terms of as you prepare them for the market, how do you now prepare them more about now balancing their equation so that they can make money instead of making losses?
So
because it's a critical thing.
Yeah, entrepreneurship is a course we teach. Communication skills, life skills, work ethics. Like tomorrow, for all the courses we provide from, I'll mention those later. For all the courses we provide, we have an industry player coming to talk to our students about what is expected of them when they go. So they are work ready. So don't be late, don't steal money. When you send money to go, put it on M-Pesa agent and you tumeunda leo, do that. When a customer is a bit unruly, learn how to deal with customers. Don't throw words or stuff like that. Be clean, be on time, be out there, be proactive, look for more customers. These are what industry play. And then people want problem solvers. If there is a challenge in the garage, they don't want a complainer. They want a person who says, or who looks for the solutions immediately.
True.
So we have an elective extra class we teach called the Localized Engineering Education Program, which uses the engineering design problem to identify challenges within the solution, within the community, and create entrepreneurial solutions. We teach problem solving as one of the most important skills. Shida iko, how do you use the least amount of resources from around you to create the solution rather than complaining? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Next year, 2026, you'll be turning 20 years.
20.
Okay.
Wow.
What is it now that you can look back and say that this is what we have achieved as TUMAINI?
The transformation is amazing. Seeing someone dirty on the street and hopeless and high on drugs to someone who's earning more money than I am earning currently at TUMAINI and saying, Mwalimu nimekuja kubaia chai leo. Driving in with their own car. That is more than I ever thought would get to that point. So that transformation, that simply means for any challenged population, even the challenges we are meeting with young people currently with all the demonstration stuff, they just need a platform, they just need to be heard. You will be shocked at the transformation. Society, the human nature is to fight back, but when you provide a nurturing space, you get results. It's not quick, but it is better than the quick reactive solution that you met against them. So I would say work with the vulnerable. They can be amazing. You can be shocked at how good they are at providing solutions when there were problems at the beginning. Yes.
Now, comparing to where you came from, the formal teaching, that is the class setup, and also going to class and lecturing and going outside there, and what you are doing currently. How do you find it?
As a person, I'm impressed. I've been lucky that I met my cousin and we started talking about street connected youth. It was difficult. It's still difficult now, but it has been very rewarding too. Apart from the transformation I've mentioned, I have been selected in various spaces. Our products and the work we do has taken me across the world. I have been educated. Now I'm doing my PhD literally for free, just because of working with this population. So it's rewarding. It's not rewarding salary-wise. I think TSC will be paying me better. But when you look at how much I've earned in a different way, it's much more rewarding. Yes. So
the non-cash benefits.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
The non-cash benefits have been really, really great.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Now, from where you said 20 years into the future, where do you see TUMAINI? Hopefully there will be someone doing better than me. So I'm looking for
literally a replacement in terms of leadership for myself. I'm looking for doing, remodeling this in other spaces, other towns, and doing it at a more different level than management, day-to-day management. But I love teaching, so I would love to continue teaching one way or the other. So I would love to see TUMAINIs across other towns in Kenya. And I would want to see our model even replicated by the government, because it works. So if the government can take such a model and replicate it in their own centers, it works very well.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And if somebody is watching here and say that I want this kind of idea in Kitale, in Kakamega, or wherever they're watching from, what is it that takes for one to have such a center?
Yeah, I've had someone telling me at patent the idea. How can you patent a story? There's no patent. So please come to TUMAINI. Come, let us share. There are many, many young people, from those ones who are refugees to those who, on the streets, to those who are in conflict areas. The model can work with all those displaced communities or individuals. So come and share. Come and we'll give you the model, we'll give you all the tools, all the work we've done over the last almost 20 years. We'll share freely, because our aim is to see more young people with hope, skills, resources, and opportunities to meet the 21st century job challenges.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking now to somebody outside there, what is it that you can tell them with regard to the street, let me call them, the street kids?
I get you, it's hard.
What is it that you can tell the people outside there regarding these kids?
Meet them, tell them there is a solution elsewhere. Say, TUMAINI works with 16 and above, the youth. Then there are many other programs that work with children. So tell them, have you heard of a program that can support you? So can I support you through that program? That is one. Two, support them when they are needing jobs. We've done an amazing transformation to them. So if I come and say, Niaje Dan, I have a boy who can do photography and stuff, I would love that Dan says, yeah, wacha nimchukue on attachment. If he does well, I will start paying him if it happens.
Okay.
So provide for them jobs, opportunities. Don't fear. And to help them to start their businesses. Some of them already started their businesses. I usually say, for me, especially for Kenyans, if you need to support TUMAINI, I would give you directly to the person who needs that support. You become a mentor to one. You come to TUMAINI and they say, that is John. Talk to John, have a conversation. John will tell you what he does at TUMAINI. And then from there, we mwenyewe tu unakuja unasema, John ako wapi? Unaongea naye, unampea kiatu kama ilikuwa kiatu. Kama ni attachment, unaambia John, by the way nimepata attachment place fulani. I hope ukikuja utabehave. Alafu then you follow up with John like that until he completes. Kama ni Alice, the same thing. You're a lady, you're interested in support Alice directly. Don't even say that I give money. But if you can do that, you still are able. But I would say, I think the one-on-one is much better.
It's more impactful.
It is more impactful, and it's more long-term.
True.
You keep with them even when they're in marriages, and they're like, hey, mazee niaje Dan, kuna venye wife ameleta shida hapa, nivaambia mazee, let's talk. So you see, you moved away from providing him a job to helping him deal with family issues.
You become a mentor.
A mentor.
Okay.
A life mentor.
Okay.
And the thing with supporting, you can stop anytime. No, it's not a must. There is no contract. You can get to some point, you're like, I've done enough, and I want to stop from here. You're now on your own. And sometimes when you let the bird fly, it does better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how can people reach you guys? How can they, if they need your services, how can they now locate you?
We are in social media, so that's one of the easiest. You can reach out through Facebook, TUMAINI Innovation Center, TikTok, TUMAINI VTC, vocational, but it's TUMAINI VTC, which means Vocation Training Center. In X, it's TUMAINI Center, and then we are very close to town.
Okay.
Although that's not very true.
I know that your road is tarmacked.
Exactly. Our road was Maram now, thanks to the government Kura. Okay. It's now been tarmacked. We are behind Kapsa Police Station. On your way to Ilula, there used to be a road that joins Munyaka or Cyrus.
That's true.
So that we are along that road. So be just ahead of the Legacy on the left. That's where we are located. You can come visit. We operate an open house. So you can come see our workshop, the innovative products we do, our model, and support one or the other.
Okay.
Well, the other thing by the Dan is we make windows and doors and stuff. So ukiunda nyumba, we kuja tunaunda window poa na mlango fiti.
Okay.
So we kuja tukuundie.
Perfect.
Tuko na electricians, they can help install your house. We have a very good solar installation company. From our own former students that can do that. We do birthdays, cakes, and everything else, all these things. So done at TUMAINI. And if not at TUMAINI, we've extended that to a business we've incubated. And the other thing I want to really make clear, we now work with young people. Young people from the streets come there when they are now trainees, sorry. So when they come there, usianze kusema ati shule ya machokora ya TUMAINI. Ukikuja huko hata ukikuja na binoculars utapata our street.
You can't realize.
You can't differentiate. Because again, they are from homes.
True.
They came from communities. So don't come there trying to find our street in Mugani, or they fear that if I bring my sister, something bad will happen to her. No, we have nothing. I mean, they are staying there willingly. If they don't like the program, someone who just walks away. So nobody is forced to stay there, so they do what they need to do. It's very simple, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so our school is good. Come and see our facilities. You'll be paying school fees next time.
Perfect. Yes. And as a matter of fact, all of us, we are always in the streets.
Yeah, exactly. We are hustling.
Some we make money from the streets.
Exactly. Okay. What you're doing is what we call street cred. You've noticed you can do these things through social media platforms.
Yes.
You've gotten credibility. People are watching you. You are literally made from the street.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kimani, for coming through the show.
Yeah.
It's been very, very insightful. And personally, I'm so motivated. And it has given me a different vision and a view of the street kids.
Yeah.
It means that it's not about them being empty and hopeless in the streets, but something can come out of them. And what you're doing is really amazing and really, really motivating. Keep doing it. And the future is bright and so satisfying to see that in this time and age, there is somebody who can give something for them. Not only something to eat, but something to teach them how to make something to eat.
Exactly.
Very important.
You've said it all.
Thank you. Looking forward to see you next time here as we celebrate 20 years.
Yeah.
I think you need to have a party for the same.
Yeah, we should celebrate. It should be, TUMAINI is a community-based organization.
True.
It's open to everyone. So it's a community celebration.
Okay.
I will try to make it a big thing.
Perfect.
And for me, lastly, just something has gotten to my mind.
Okay.
I would say you have a brother who's struggling, a sister who's struggling, maybe alcoholism, drug addiction. Please separate the drugs and the addiction from that person because every vulnerable person has a future. Perfect. Love them, provide them a platform, you will be surprised. So instead of fighting them and being angry at them for the failure of the family, embrace them and you'll be shocked at the transformation.
Bring them close.
Bring them close.
Thank you. That's so profound.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming through the show. In fact, we'll be the CEO show, courtesy of the CEO show, we'll do a cake for you at 20. That is an offer. Kumbuka here, write it down. Sawa. Thank you so much, sir, for creating time. It's been really amazing. Yeah. Looking forward to have this conversation in the near future. Keep doing what you're doing. You have the support of the CEO show. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's been an amazing show having Kimani on the set talking about second chance to the street kids. I'm sure you've learned something and something comes out of everybody. Take it home. What is your take home? Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. Looking forward, once again, come next week. We have another set of guests prepared for you. Amazing conversation here. I'm sure you can't afford to miss. See you next week. Same time, same place. I was your host, Dan. May you have a good night and God bless you.
This is the CEO Show. Hosted by Dan. Business Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative talks, CEO insights, success stories, value markets, and financial education. This is the CEO Show. Hosted by Dan. Business Minds. Minds, pioneering and inspiring entrepreneurs. Creative Talks, CEO Insights,